What is up, you guys? What's up, my polar bears? In this week's video, I am going to be doing the one layer challenge, which, if any of you guys don't know what it is a digital art challenge where you have to do everything: your sketch, your coloring. You have to do it all in one single layer. Right now, I am struggling through trying to figure out what I want to do because, I didn't actually plan. I just decided to open a new canvas on Procreate and just jump into the sketch. So, sort of working out the kinks. Another issue is that usually I draw a lot in my sketchbooks and I warm up before I do like something finished, something refined, just to get my wrist to loosen up. And I didn't do that. So I seriously apologize if my work is really, really stiff. So right now we're facing my biggest pet peeve of this challenge, and that just has to be coloring on top of my sketch, because I do 2 to 3 sketches when I draw. I do my first anatomy sketch to get the feel of the anatomy of the proportions. I do my secondary sketch where like I add any details such as like the clothing, the hair, the face. And sometimes if my second sketch is too messy, I'll do a third sketch where I just redefine everything and make sure everything looks good. And I had to had to make the sketches on top of each other. And unlike when I'm using multiple layers, I wasn't able to turn one sketch off and just focus like that. I had to give up my sketch, and my sketch went away as I start coloring because it's all in one layer. And that is honestly the part that was the most challenging, because I am the type of digital artist that uses way too many layers. Like, I put almost everything in a separate layer. My skin is one layer, in its own layer, hair is in its own layer, and the shading for all the layers is also in its own layer. Because the process right now that I use to shade normally is that I make the shading one layer and I do it a darker color, and then I might like blend it out so it looks lighter and softer, or I might sometimes turn down the opacity, and that's how I do my shading. So having to shade through like blending felt like very traditional. And don't get me wrong, it's not like I don't do traditional artwork. In my current IB art class, my art teacher sort of has me only doing traditional artwork to make sure I do learn the joys of traditional. And I do enjoy like painting. I love doing traditional sketching. But it's just when I'm working on my iPad, I'm thinking strictly digital, I'm not wanting to blend. I'm wanting to do the things that I've learned to do in digital that I enjoy doing, such as taking advantage of the multiple layers. And it was a challenge. Yeah, that's the point of it. It I'm not gonna say it wasn't fun. I sort of began to enjoy it part of the way through, because I sort of looking at especially when I got to the pants, looking at the pants and seeing this very, very, very painterly feeling to them, just having them feel like so painterly, sort of made me kind of happy. Because if you guys ever looked at my Instagram, you'll see that I tend to do a lot of harsh black outlines. That is sort of on purpose. I do understand that doing completely black outlines flattens your work, but I sort of enjoy the flattened look to my work because it makes it feel very like comic book esque, and I really enjoy that. So, in this, seeing the pants and seeing that painterly feeling to them was sort of enjoyable, and that might be something that I would like to explore in the future. I mean, I did struggle toward the end of the piece to figure out whether I wanted to keep it in like this painterly feeling or do a black line art on top of it after I finished coloring and blending everything out. I decided to do a black outline at the end, mainly because the color I had used to shade the jacket was very dark, and I did end up sort of doing a black outline in the jacket, and I thought it would be weird to have part of the piece have a black outline and the other part of the piece not have a black outline. Another thing that I really didn't like about the challenge would have to be the fact that I just, I had to erase my sketch by hand. Instead of it just being, I just turn off the sketch layer, I had to go in by hand and erase and just make sure everything was erased and clean. It was annoying, really. But, can't love everything about a challenge. If you're wondering who this dude is, he is Alistair, and he is one of the main characters in a comic I have been working and developing over the past 3 years now. It is not published yet because I've thought about this idea for such a long time, and I'm utterly in love with the idea and the characters I've developed. So I want to dedicate a lot of time and make regular installments of it. So I'm leaving it as like a college sort of assignment. Once I get to college and have more time, I plan on publishing the comic. So if any of you guys are interested about that, I'll probably announce it on my channel when that happens, which should be at the end, toward the mid end of 2020. So overall, I thought it was a fun challenge, even though there were parts that were absolutely maddening and absolutely stressful. It was fun, and I think it is a great exercise for a digital artist just to sort of make you look at things a different perspective. Because I feel like with art, sometimes we get so in the rhythm of our habits and doing things the way we've always done it that we forget that sometimes experimenting can make you find a new way that's also a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and subscribe!